Hi, everybody.
Hey there.
Hey, Naz. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
I guess it would help if I turned everything on, wouldn't it? Hi, everybody. I'm like, oh, where am I? Where's my voice?
Hi, Kurt.
How are you, sir? Good to see you again.
Yeah, good, thank you. I think 6 hours of Zooming and Teams. How are you guys getting on as architects?
Well, I've got to tell you, I've obviously done several planning commissions and city council meetings over this last 14 months, and it's, on the whole, it's not been too bad. The one thing it seems like that the meetings have gone much faster. And I'm not driving all over the crazy place. I don't have to spend an hour to get there and an hour home. So that's been great because I'm in my office, which is about 5 minutes where I live. So that's really great. In fact, I'm right across from the community center. So my office is right here in Campbell.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
so yeah, we've been here for a long, long time. But no, I think it's worked out great. And like you, and we're the only one on the agenda tonight, so hopefully it'll be pretty quick and we'll get on and have some dinner. So
Or go into town for a beer.
yeah. Or two pennies.
Yeah, that's right.
So Naz, before we get started, I want to tell you how much I really appreciate you getting us on this agenda. We've got, as you know, Dr. Tran has been working on this project for a long time, and we took it over and basically redesigned the whole configuration of this building. His original proposal was for one operating computer. We've reconfigured it to give him two full-size operating computers, which is going to give him much greater flexibility with his patients. So anyway, so thanks for getting us on the agenda tonight so we can move this thing forward.
All right, you're very welcome. Is anyone else going to join us, Kurt?
Nope.
The owner of the, okay. Okay, so I will go ahead and get started and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see my PowerPoint?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so this is a modification to a previously approved plan development permit, a tree removal permit, and a dead tree removal application for 429 Llewellyn Avenue. So the project site is located on Llewellyn Avenue between West Hamilton and Plum Blossom Lane. The zoning is planned development with a general plan land use designation of general commercial, which allows for the existing medical office use. The property is currently developed with an existing one-story office building. In 2000, I'm sorry, the building was constructed in 1982, and then in 2007, it received approval to be used as a medical office. So this application proposes a 1,796 square foot addition to the front of the building with a small addition in the rear as well. The total is 1,796. And the application also includes the removal of 3 parking spaces to accommodate the front addition. So these 3 spaces are located here, but then there's the creation of 2 new parking spaces over on this side of the building frontage. And then that makes a total of 41 parking spaces provided, which is also the same number that's required for medical use in a building of this size. The application also proposes some facade improvements. Here at the top is the existing front elevation. And then here we have the proposed front elevation. So the improvements would include removal of these wall projections and the columns at the front. And then there'd be stucco walls in place of the brick veneer, and then a new entryway with the steel entry canopy and stone veneer columns. So along with the building improvements, the application includes a request for a tree removal permit for 3 trees. So we have 2 sweet gum trees, and these are located here, kind of towards the street. And then 1 Maton tree, and that's located at the side of the building here. So when I visited the site to prepare the report, which was a week or 2 ago, the leaves were just coming out of the sweet gums. So, I mean, they naturally shed their leaves in the winter and they're just growing back. So at this time, it's kind of unclear what condition they're in. The Maton tree has a lean. It's not as visible from this angle, but from here you can see that it has a pretty healthy looking canopy. And then there's also a request to remove 4 dead or dying Maton trees. 2 would need to be removed to accommodate the front addition. These are pictured here at the bottom, but all 4 of them are in decline. And there is 1 replacement tree proposed here. And the code does require any trees that are approved for removal to each be replaced, or for payment of an in lieu fee if the site can't accommodate additional trees. So the replacement plan for each tree that can be conditioned, or the SART can direct the applicant to provide a plan for the Planning Commission to consider. So that concludes my presentation. I'll stop sharing.
Naz, do you have a picture from the street showing the trees surrounding the building?
I can pull it up on Street View.
If you could, that'd be great. And I'm sure you all have been out to the site. This building was originally. Am I okay to start? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So originally, this building, I don't know if you how long you all have been around, but I remember this used to be it was an insurance building where you actually drove in and you had your car, evaluated or appraised for fender benders and things like that. And then Dr. Tran bought the building. That was back in 2007 and rebuilt the building, but they never really did anything much to the exterior. And Dr. Tran is a world-class spine surgeon. So when I got involved with him, we had just finished doing a couple of years that we did Dr. Team's new building for him up in Fremont. He's an orthopedic surgeon for the Sharks. Did a complete facelift for him, did his clinic, did his PT area. And Dr. Tran expressed, he goes, I want my building to look like it's a state-of-the-art surgery center. So that's why we come in, we propose skin in the building, getting rid of that block, getting rid of those blocky things that come out, a nice white clean finish with some stone and some stainless. So it looks very high tech, which is very indicative of the type of work that he does and the quality surgeon he is. And as I was speaking to earlier, so we're taking his Medicare certified surgery facility, we're making it 2 ORs and larger than normal. The requirement for a Medicare certified surgery suite is like 270 square feet per room. So we have one room that's 340. We have another room that's 420. So he could actually do in the future knee replacements, do shoulder replacements, things along those lines. As you know, there's a big movement to get that kind of work out of the hospital, especially with COVID. Gives them a place where they can really control the outcome, and then people can get in and out on a daily basis. So part of the reason we want to get those old trees out of there because they don't look very good. I mean, their roots are showing. We really want to clean this thing up and make it like a very beautiful facility. Fortunately, this building is surrounded by this huge canopy of trees. If you're standing at the front looking at the building, on the left side and to the rear between us and the multifamily behind us. I mean, these trees are huge. The canopies are huge. You probably noticed that when you looked at the tree plan. And we're actually going to go in probably within the next couple of weeks and clean all those up. We're working with the homeowners association to really lift up the canopy clean off some of the branches that need to go out there. They've had several branches fall through these windstorms that we had a couple months back. So really clean that whole area up. But the intent here is to create a world-class facility. When you drive up, you know you're getting the best care, and that is possible. That was the whole intent of creating this real clean looking, almost sterile kind of look, because it's state-of-the-art surgery center. So if you deem that you'd like us to replace that one tree, I mean, I'm okay with that. Well, we'll find a spot where I can work with staff on that location. I personally think there's so many trees around that doggone building. I would prefer it not to have any trees around the building because I want the building to stand on its own. I want to use the existing canopy trees as the backdrop of that building. So it almost looks like I've got a frame around that building instead of having some little funky trees around the building. I think it's going to distract from the architecture that we're trying to achieve, and I think it would be actually be a detraction from the architecture if we had some small trees around there. But I'm willing to work with staff on that.
Thank you, Kurt. Adam, you got some thoughts?
Sure. First, question for Naz. What exactly are the rules about whether or not, it sounds like the applicant doesn't want to, would rather pay in lieu fees than plant more trees. What's the flexibility that the town offers there?
Well, yeah, there is a requirement to any protected tree that's being removed. It does need to be replaced. I mean, the intent behind the in lieu fee is that if there isn't room to reasonably place all the trees, a lot of times that happens when it's a code enforcement case after removal of a tree without a permit, and then because the replacement ratio is higher versus just a 1-to-1 ratio if you get approval for removing a tree.
Okay, so that it's not a general, if you would rather not have a tree there, then you can pay an in lieu fee. It's more, if you physically cannot add a tree there, then you can pay an in lieu fee.
Yes. I mean,
okay.
Granted, they are proposing to enlarge the building. So, I mean, that would, and then they have to create 2 new parking spaces. So, I mean, that is reducing the landscape area.
Understandable. So question about the parking. Like, I recognize that our rules are 1 parking stall per 200 square feet, but this is 1 medical practice, right, Mr. Anderson?
Well, it's actually, it's please call me Kurt. My dad was Mr. Anderson. So Dr. Tran owns the building and the primary clinic facility, but he has partners that come and use the surgery facility. So he does all his procedures on Tuesday, and then another doctor does all his on Wednesday. So primarily, there's 1 doctor in this facility during the day.
I guess what I'm getting at is, are there actually 41 different people there at a time?
Well, I will tell you that there's a certain amount of staff to run a surgery facility. So, I mean, can we get away with not putting those 2 stalls in? Probably. And don't forget that most of these people they have to be driven there anyway, because either they're one having problems walking, or they're going to have a procedure done and they can't drive and drive themselves afterwards. So I've been doing medical facilities since 1975. I've done surgery facilities all over the United States. I mean, we've done probably 3 million square feet of medical office around the Bay Area. I've seen it both ways, minimal and more. So it just really depends. But typically in a surgery facility where they're doing procedures, the requirement is actual requirement is less would be if it was a medical office that was turning patients every 15 to 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's a big difference when you got 3 docs working, they're seeing 3 patients an hour. So there's a huge demand for parking. This is not so much, but at the other hand, I still want to adhere to the requirements. But if in your infinite wisdom you say we don't need this too, I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. I understand that, like, we are planning for the building, whatever the building may be in however many years. This is infrastructure. So I understand that even if this particular use doesn't need parking, that we are concerned about the next use, which might need this much parking. I just wanted to ask about that. I'd also like to say I appreciate the motivation behind this project. It sounds like this is a helpful business to have in Campbell, and having it expand to be able to be more so is excellent. So thank you. Those are my initial thoughts. Stuart, do you want to go?
Adam. Yeah, some comments. I think the design is really nice, contemporary, and achieves what you're trying to do with this type of.
Stuart, I can hardly hear you.
Sorry, somebody else said that something's happening to my audio on my PC.
Much better, thank you.
Yeah, so comments on it. I think it's nice design. Or the outside is a contemporary, clean white design, so it seems to achieve what you're aiming for, from what I can tell with the drawing. So that's great. The two things really come to mind. One is the trees. I guess I see a lot of trees being cut down in Campbell, right? So I get what you're saying about the large canopy, and I went on site today and I had a look at the trees. So some of the trees are okay, but a lot of the trees are not healthy. But we see a lot of trees being cut down in Campbell, and I would be in favour of replacing the trees on a 1-for-1 basis, so any which are cut down. And I think, I'm not an expert on this, but I think even with the addition of the extra space, I think there's still room to put some trees in there. I know that might detract from maybe one of the aims of having it as a standout building there, but I guess this is a more personal thing here, but I'd rather have trees there rather than just removing trees and having no trees there. So can't speak for my fellow commissioners, but that's one of the things I would look for, is a replacement 1-for-1 tree. Doesn't need to be in the same space, but if we're cutting down 4 trees to be put back into the lot somewhere.
Well, Stuart, I can appreciate that, and you got to know I'm a big tree guy myself. So I think that's a doable deal, is 1 per for the ones that were taken out. But what I don't want to do is hold up the project while we're trying to figure out where the trees to go. So if we can condition the project such that, hey, you need to replace the trees this many, and work with staff on the location and the selection of the type of tree, so we can keep moving forward, that'd be great. And then maybe we're working right now. We're scheduled for the commission on the 27th. Maybe I can be able to get together with my landscape architect. Maybe we can come up with something that we can present at that time. But I want to be able to keep moving the project forward, because we've got to be under construction June 1st. Dr. Tran is moving into another facility, so we can tear apart this thing and put it back together. So I got a real tight time. So if we can do something along those lines, that I think that's a doable deal.
Yeah, that sounds a good way forward. We don't want to unnecessarily delay things. Right. If we can condition it so we do it on a 1-for-1 basis, and work with the staff on the selection and siting. I think the commission would propose that anyway, because we're not experts on trees or siting. Yeah. Your landscapers and the staff would know far better than us. But again, this would be just our thoughts back to the planning commission. So that sounds a workable way forward. Adam might have some thoughts on that. The other point, and this is I can't see this being used by the patients within the centre, but it might be used by the staff. I'm a big time cyclist, and nothing more annoys me in going to different places and not having a bike rack to put my bike on. This is partly driven by I've had numerous bikes stolen despite being locked, because you can't actually physically secure it to anywhere. So whether you could put a couple of bike racks there, I don't think you'd need many, just maybe 1 or 2 bike racks that somebody could secure their bike to, would encourage the whole concept of, getting people off the road and onto their bike.
Stuart, I think that's a great idea for you. I was an avid cyclist myself for years and years until I had a major accident and I broke 7 bones and had a
Oh.
concussion and tore a lung and damaged my trachea. So I've been riding since, but I'm still a big proponent of bicycles and we can make that as part of the condition. Let me find a place where I can stick a couple bikes in there.
Thank you. That would be great.
Yeah, I don't think that much of the staff probably rides, but you know what? There may be 1 or 2 that do. And I think if they have a place to park their bike and lock it and secure it, they'd be more inclined to use that. And if we can eliminate a couple trips a day off the streets, that'd be great. So let's make that part of the conditions. We'll just add a couple of bike racks, not a problem.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah.
And Adam, what's the name of your cat?
Oh, that's Abed. Yeah. Our cats are named Troy and Abed. He's only really friendly when I'm having a meeting, I assure you.
He's a great looking cat.
Thank you. He's a big boy. So I'd like to just add, Stuart, that is a great idea about bike racks. I second that wholeheartedly. And I very much agree with the idea of, yes, we can add as conditions of approval that you should replace the trees, but I cannot see any justification for holding up approval on the precise idea of exactly where the trees go, because I don't think anyone on the planning commission has expertise or strict opinions about where that happens. And we really are not here to try and make things more difficult for you.
Yeah, I think working with the landscape and staff would be great on positioning. Don't want to hold it up.
All right, so
Yeah.
now that we've crossed that thing, let me throw another little bump, okay? I really, as I look at this building, I look at those, and you were out there today, Stuart, those hedges around the building that are about this tall, the land, the grass, it's like, it's just not up to current, water usage standards, architectural design and landscape. What I like to do, and I'm going to share with you all, is I'm going to come in not only as part of the tree replacement, the location, I want to look at redoing the landscape around the building and create more of a very minimal water usage, or kind of a desert style of thing to really enhance the architecture. And I like to get rid of the hedges all across that front of the building so it's more visible from the street. I think from a safety standpoint, I think that's important. So I'm going to commit to y'all right now that I'm going to come back with a fresh look on the whole thing, trees and the landscape at the same time as part of that. So if we can include that in the condition, that'd be great, because that's what we're going to plan on doing.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. Landscaping plan along those lines with the trees. Yeah.
I want to help reduce the water usage on that site. I think, quite frankly, and I think that the water usage is what killed those trees, because I don't think that was really irrigated properly. And so we can get that straightened out. We can make that so there'll be healthy trees. And I think it'll go along with you make the building look a lot better. So if we can do that, that would be fantastic. Now, can we do a condition like that?
Landscape, there's typical conditions that we use. I can work with you on that, because there are certain thresholds where you trigger the state water ordinance.
Yeah, I don't want to have to deal with Halo if I can, right?
I mean, I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks it is.
Well, you know what? It's
not that complicated, but
the amount of work for the
you use the right
landscape
kinds of
architect.
plants.
Yeah, Halo just requires a whole bunch of work for the landscape architect. All the calculations, all that stuff. It's a tremendous amount of work.
I'm a landscape architect.
What's that?
I'm a landscape architect.
Well, you know what I'm talking about then.
It's not that bad.
Okay.
But we can figure that out. It's just the amount, the square footage.
Okay. Well, we can work through that. So I think that'll further enhance the project. I think your suggestion of the trees and the bike racks, I think is a really great addition. So.
Okay.
I would also just want to throw in there, this doesn't really apply to this particular project, but one of my hobby horses has been the idea of we should be able to substitute a small amount of, at least some amount of bike parking for some amount of car parking. We do that in a lot of cities. And if that were the case in this instance, we could add those bike racks and not have to take a chunk out of the landscaping. Just want to make that. I just want to mention that.
Okay, well, I like that.
We do have a provision for motorcycle parking, but in our existing code, there isn't anything for bike parking in place of vehicular parking, but
Yeah, something for the
good
general.
idea. I mean, it makes sense.
It's something I'm hoping one day when we have the new general plan, right? It could be because there's electric scooters.
Well,
That could be.
Stuart, there's gonna become a time where we're gonna be putting chargers out in front for scooters. It's not too far away. In fact, I will tell you guys, we're actually having discussions on our larger projects about creating landing pads for future Uber helicopters. And we're not that far away from that either.
That's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, we try to keep abreast of those things and make sure that we can plan for it. But yeah, we're going to see a tremendous amount of change in the next 10 years, I think, and not in this entire valley, not only from the buildings and the density, but also things like that. Uber helicopters and scooters and all this crazy other stuff. So,
well, just out of interest, things like Amazon drones for delivery as well. Is that something
well,
that's coming up?
that helicopter pad that the Uber helicopter used, the drones would come to the same pad.
Okay, so same type of thing. Yeah. Exciting future.
Yeah.
Let's get through this COVID, right?
Well, we're doing a bunch of work downtown San Jose. We currently have 5 buildings over 25 stories. We have another 9 buildings that are about 12 stories, all basically in the downtown core. So we're looking at all those kind of things right now. And in fact, we're looking at, I don't know if you guys are all aware of this, but we're the architects for the project at the old Gold's Gym, which is just a block away from this. And that went through, we did a prelim on that in front of the council about maybe 6-8 weeks ago. And the owner of the properties now has got that under contract. We're talking to new buyers, and that's going to be a very high density project. We're talking about upwards between 150 and 200 units on that site. So doing some stacked housing, doing some townhomes. So we're real excited about the news. So we're going to see big changes around here, guys. So yeah, we're excited. And I got to tell you, Adam, you looked at a building we did, and I don't know if you were involved in Stuart, that pre when we did the hotel over on Selmar. You were very, Adam, I remember you very distinct in that discussion, talking about more FAR, hire more stuff. I got to tell you that I've been working in the city since 1975, and I am very encouraged by what I'm seeing from commission and the council about more density, more aggressive architecture stuff. It's very, very exciting, and I'm really glad to be part of it and look forward to doing some more myself. So there you are.
Yeah, no, Campbell's last 20 years has been going, and it's been going great. You know, love to see what they've done in the past, and things don't stand still. So embracing the future thoughtfully and demonstrating leadership is great. I'm top of really looking forward to it.
So I've got a quick question of Naz. Yeah. Where are we at with the new director? What's going on? What's kind of going in the big picture? So from an outside yard working with the city.
I can talk to you offline. I'm on overtime right now, so.
Okay. Well, let's run. Come on, let's run up the bill.
Well, we can carry on talking. You can
right?
another half an hour in the second.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up now. You can give me a little email and tell me what's up. That's fine.
Sure, sounds good.
All right.
I do. While we have questions, I do have one question. Like, why is there no planning commission this evening? Is it a noticing error like last time?
Was there? I think something got pulled. It just wasn't ready for.
Oh, we just didn't have anything on the docket.
Yeah. So there's nothing to bring forward this week.
Well, we could roll this right to the planning commission after it's archived. We could have done that and really picked up some time.
There's a few things that need to happen in between, unfortunately, but we'll be ready for
always
you.
Pushing,
That's just thinking there's more overtime to be had there, right?
Well, we've got you on the 27th.
Thank you. Hey, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right,
Look forward to seeing you again.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Naz.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.